Greetings everyone and welcome. I'm your host Captain Ryan. Today's video comes to us courtesy of Captain's Iron. And Iron is playing in the Tier 10 Japanese floating fortress, Yamato, here in World of Warships. As the battle gets underway, it's Warrior's Path, it's Domination Match Mode. It's obviously a Tier 10 maximum battle. There are 2 CVs in the game, but don't worry, they're Tier 8, and the Yamato's anti-aircraft, even though it's not the best in the world, should be able to reasonably deal with Tier 8 planes. But a major advantage, if you're in a battleship at least, is that there are only 2 destroyers in the game to worry about. One on your team and one on the enemy team. Speaking of destroyers, the friendly destroyer, the Envoy up there, is making a beeline for the B cap. And at this point, he seems like he's the only person on Iron's team that actually has a game plan in mind. At this point, if we look at the map situation, the friendly team is really kind of disorganized, not heading any direction in particular. Some have even turned around and are actually heading backwards. Now that, of course, is Iron's own divmate in this battle there in the Hindenburg. Enemy aircraft have been spotted. Friendly aircraft carrier has planes out there, so they're going to battle it out over the A cap point. And enemy ships starting to get spotted there. Some of those are going to be spotted by aircraft, some of them being spotted by the envoys, surprisingly enough. Russian destroyer out front spotting. There's something you probably won't see all that often. Enemy Alsace-Lorraine out there at a great range, 22 kilometers, sailing pretty quickly and broadside on. So Iron gets shots out there, but look at that. You can see as he fires, he's detected. The Alsace there sees him and he fires back. Now Iron is starting to slow down and then he starts speeding up again. This is in an effort to throw the shots off as they come in, and it looks like that Alsace might not have actually been shooting at Iron. Now Iron takes shots off at the kid that was briefly spotted there. Now that's a dangerous destroyer because it has a heel. But I think an envoy versus a kid, I'm going to give the advantage to the envoy because the kid only has 1 set of torpedoes. Iron manages to actually connect 1 shot there. Causes a little bit of damage. It's just an overpen, not too much. But that kid is going to have to think seriously about his support and his backup and whether or not he wants to push in. Iron takes more shots off here at that Alsace, but look, that Alsace looks like he's moving a lot slower, and sure enough, that's exactly what he's doing. So he probably had his speed boost active for that first few minutes of the game, and now that's deactivated, so he's actually moving a lot slower. Shooting at French battleships, even when they're broadside, very, very difficult to gauge the speed of that. Enemy team loses 1 ship right off the bat, so first blood goes to Iron's team. Additionally, Iron's team manages to secure the B cap point. That's going to give them a points advantage with killing a ship and gaining points from a capped point. Well, the enemy team doesn't have any caps at this point. In the meantime, Iron took more shots at that Alsace, who had stopped just short of getting behind that island to take shots at somebody, and that cost him, as Iron does connect and put some decent damage on him. Now, of course, it's a Tier 9 battleship, so he's going to recover most of that. Not too much in the way, but remember, this is the Yamato. The Yamato has these big, beautiful 18-inch guns. They are very, very destructive when they hit and when they penetrate. And the ship is pretty damn accurate for a battleship, especially at ranges. Now, shots coming in there, fortunately, they managed to miss. That's probably from a cruiser based on the fact that they were high explosive rounds. Which cruiser? It's hard to say at this point. Enemy team manages to take out a friendly cruiser, and it looks like that kid has pushed into the B cap point as the enemy team is starting to take it. Enemy Kurfürst pushes out from behind that island. Iron takes shots off. Look at the grouping on these shots. Absolutely beautiful. But it is a Kurfürst, so no citadels as those hit, but a massive amount of penetration there. 16,000 damage done. So the damage counter here is going to tick up slowly, even if the targets are limited here. Now they're Iron doing the old map trick to try and get a little bit of an overview for shooting at that Buffalo or Baltimore that was back behind that island. But as you can see, that guy disappeared, and he didn't really have much of an option there. Iron spotted by aircraft here. Very, very annoying when you're in a battleship, especially if you're sitting in the backfield and you're just trying to snipe, or if you're in a cruiser or a destroyer. As we can see here, he's got priority target, so you can see just how many people are shooting at him. Enemy team manages to take out friendly battleship here, but notice that Iron's team is actually still in the points lead in spite of losing 2 ships, including a battleship, which is worth more points. And that is because they have a cap point, and they're just about to have 2 here as they secure the C cap point. Now, whatever was in the B cap point has opted to leave, and looking at the map there, last known position markers available to you, I highly recommend you turn those on. Tells you that, yes, that was in fact the kid that was out there. Iron takes more shots off there. He manages to connect, but look at that. He manages to bounce somebody and only gets 2 overpins. That is the most frustrating thing ever. RNGesus, why you do this? Enemy Hindenburg pushing up around this island. Now this Hindenburg has to know full well that Iron is here because Iron is being spotted. He's being detected by something, and that's, again, probably going to be that destroyer who could be lurking about. It could also be aircraft as well. But look at that. Hindenburg pushes a little too far out there, noses a little too far. Double Citadel, lots of glorious, glorious penetration, and that knocked his engine out, so that Hindenburg's basically dead in the water until he hits his repair party. He does repair, he starts getting going, but look at this, shots coming in there just as Iron fires off all his shots. Friendly Diffmate actually secures the kill, taking out that Hindenburg, so Hindenburg is dead. However, sad news, friendly team has lost their only destroyer. In a battle like this, or any battle, I always say the team that gains the destroyer advantage usually goes on to win the game, because now they have a scout that doesn't have to worry about being spotted and torpedoed and getting into a torpedo or a gunfight with another destroyer. But in this particular case, the destroyer that's left is a kid, so it's only 5 torpedoes, only 1 torpedo tube, and if you knock that out, and it's very easy to knock that out, then he has no torpedoes. It basically just becomes a pure gunboat. He can still be annoying by spotting you, but as far as destroyers go, he's not as effective. Now the enemy team has managed to kill even more ships. Right now, the enemy team is leading on kills 4 versus 2. But again, Iron's team still in the lead here. As they hold 2 of the caps, they still hold B and C, and so that's going to give them a points increase, double the rate of the enemy team. Even if the enemy team manages to continue killing ships, unless they get themselves some caps, they're not going to be able to hold and secure a lead. Enemy Buffalo pushes out from behind that island. Iron's trying to get lined up there, shots out their turrets. Just barely get lined up. Is he going to be able to connect with that Buffalo before he gets behind? Yes, he does. There's another massive penetration. 5 penetrating hits and a Citadel. That Buffalo regretting his life decisions. From the looks of the reload speed, it looks like Iron here has the reload mods installed. So his turrets are going to traverse a bit more slowly. They're going to be more prone to taking damage and getting knocked out. But notice there, he had a 23-second reload on this ship. That's pretty damn good. Friendly team manages to take out another enemy cruiser, but they lose yet another ship. At this point, they actually have lost 3 of their battleships. There are now just 2 battleships left on Iron's team. Iron, who's got most of his health because he's in a Yamato and he's been doing what a lot of Yamato players do, which is basically bow tanking and hiding in the back. But in this case, that's not necessarily a bad thing, as he's had plenty of targets to shoot at, and he's been putting effective fire out. Speaking of effective fire, there's the enemy Des Moines who's popped up. He's been spotted. He's behind a low island, but that's not going to be enough there to save him, as those shots clear the island. All penetrations, no citadels. First kill for Iron in this game at 127,000 damage. Not only that, with that Des Moines dead, his team now has a very good points lead. The enemy team is in the process of capturing C. If you look here on the mini-map, they've got a lot of ships down over here, but one of them, that Kurfürst, is fairly low HP. At least low HP, comparatively speaking, and friendly CV has gone ahead and he's going to drop on a tier 10. Now, it's cost him some aircraft, and the enemy CV's going after him there, but he does manage to connect a couple of torpedoes, and that's going to cause the Kurfürst some problems. Additionally, it's forced the Kurfürst to turn broadside to iron in his Yamato. So he manages to connect there. 13,000 damage, not enough to kill that Kurfürst outright, but look how low health that guy is left with. Now, iron is starting to turn away here, and he's turning away because he doesn't want to give broadside to anybody. It's still a Yamato after all. The broadside is still fairly large and fairly weak. You can have problems. Now, he's got two options here. He's got a Hindenburg off in the back, and he's got a Missouri pushing into the cap. So he fires at the Hindenburg, who's turning broadside. He's trying to get away with it, but he's not going to get away with it with 3 penetrations, 2 citadels, and a devastating strike. And with that amount of damage and that kill, there's the Confederate award for iron. Additionally, that just means that Missouri has lost a lot of his potential support over here, as now he's got to deal with a Yamato effectively alone. And I say effectively because, as we can see there, North Carolina has popped up, and North Carolina's got all his health because he's been hiding in the back this whole time and not really doing much. And because he's been doing that and not really doing much, a North Carolina and a Missouri versus a Yamato, I'm going to give it to the Yamato, especially considering iron is doing what he should. He's keeping himself very angled. He's not risking that broadside. He is, however, sitting still, and he's actually started reversing here. So he goes ahead, he fires off at that North Carolina, does manage to connect there. Again, no citadels, but look at those penetration values. Lots of nice big damage done. Enemy Yamato pops up there, pushing out. With any luck, the friendly team will be able to take out that Yamato. It would be great if they could. Enemy carrier has coming in with torpedo bombers. Now, earlier he tried to dive bomb iron, and he did succeed. Now he's going to torpedo bomb, but look at this. This carrier player kind of knows what they're doing. He's doing a cross drop. He's not going to try and sledgehammer. He's going to try and guarantee some hits. So the question is, how many are going to hit? It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 hits there. Knocks out the engine, knocks out the rudder there. Iron pops his repair ability, but look at that though. All of those torpedoes, they hit right in the torpedo bulge where the protection is the greatest. Tier 8 air-launched torpedoes didn't do a lot of damage to the Yamato. Something to think about if you're a CV player. You really, really want to prioritize your target. Now, there's a lot of other targets that guy could have gone after instead of trying to focus down this Yamato. Friendly team is in the process of contesting A, but they're having a problem because they've got a Yamato on one side, and they've got the kid on the other. But that enemy Yamato gets taken out by a North Carolina, of all things, surprisingly enough. Speaking of North Carolinas, that enemy North Carolina takes another big penetrating hit from Iron's Yamato. And Iron is effectively just alternating shots between the Missouri and the North Carolina in a concerted effort to effectively reset the cap progress. Because the enemy team has been unable to capture anything and hold it, and isn't holding anything at this point, Iron's team has a massive points lead, well over 500 points at this time. Now, the enemy team does manage to drive the friendly team out of the A cap point. So that's going to start getting them points again. But again, looking at that points differential, unless they can start killing people on Iron's team, they aren't going to be able to rebound from this. It's basically just going to be the end. Iron there, again, using the map option to try and look over, which is weird because he's got a catapult fighter up and not a spotter aircraft. If he had the spotter, he'd be able to see over that island nice and easy. The catapult aircraft, of course, in this particular game, actually a wise choice because it is going to go. It's going to engage those dive bombers. It's going to engage those fighters and those torpedo bombers. It's going to cause panic drops amongst the bombing groups. But it does prevent you from seeing over islands. So Iron, using that map option, he's trying to get a quick glimpse over it just to get his bearings. But as we can see there, that little mountain icon popping up, preventing him from being able to see, being able to land hits. Now that Missouri, however, is far enough behind that island, as Iron gets his shots lined up, they clear, and there's a double Citadel. More massive penetration from these guns. Broadside onto Yamato. That's a paddling. 7 Citadels so far in this game. With the Missouri dead, that earns him his high caliber as well. 255,000 damage so far done in this game. At this point, any player would be more than happy. They could basically just say, nope, that's it, I'm done. There's nothing more to worry about. That's all I need. But this North Carolina decides he's going to go ahead. He's going to push up and pop out his nose. Now, more torpedoes coming in there, but look at that. Between the friendly North Carolina here, as well as Iron's own anti-aircraft, they pretty much annihilate all of the aircraft that came in. Only one got torpedoes away, and it didn't get to make it back to its home carrier. Now, this brave North Carolina is trying to bow tank a Yamato, and you just can't do that, as another Citadel, another ship dead, and that actually is the end of the battle. 273,000 damage done in this game there. A good number of kills, 4 total, almost a Kraken Unleashed, Confederate and high caliber. With a result like that and 8 glorious penetrating Citadels. Top of the team for XP earned, 3,500 base XP. Next nearest guy on the team, not even close at 2,600 base XP. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think of the content. If you'd like to get some of your regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, or just like to have me take a look at, you can send it to my email. If you'd like to help support me and the channel, and every little bit of support certainly helps, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. And if you'd like to watch me play various games live, albeit intermittently, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.